This episode is sponsored by the 210 Collective at EXP. If you desire to be equally yoked in business with your brothers and sisters in Christ all around the globe, if you desire to pursue excellence, serve faithfully, and glorify God in your business, then you should check out what is happening at the 210 Collective. Go to 210collective.com/podcast to learn more and schedule a call today. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Faithful Agent Podcast. I'm going to launch us right in because we've got so much good stuff to cover today. But Jenifer, our guest, asked me to share a joke. So here it is. All right, Jenifer, let's see. Oh, man. God is talking to one of his angels and says, "Do you know what I've just done? I have just created a 24-hour period of alternating light and darkness on earth. Isn't that good?" And the angel says, "Yes, but what will you do now?" God says, "I think I'll call it a day." That's actually kind of funny. That surprisingly is pretty good.
That was a good one.
I like that.
That was a great one.
That's amazing. Well, if you're still here, and again, Jenifer asked me, so if you're not, that's on her. But we've got Jenifer Morin with us, and I am so excited that she's here. She's got an amazing new book out, which you're going to hear about. But we're going to jump right in. This is really, if you're a new agent, how do you get launched in the next 90 days? And if you're an agent that's been in the business, maybe struggling, this applies to you as well. So make sure you listen up. Jenifer, thank you for coming on. Let me jump right in with this question. You've worked, I know, over the years with hundreds of agents. What are the top traits or habits you see in those who go on to thrive in this business?
Well, thank you, first of all, Garrett, for having me.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely a privilege to be on here with you. All right, let's get into it. The top agents that I have had the honor of working with, and it's been hundreds in my 9-year career here, there are the ones that are consistent, they're coachable, and they're hungry for the business, right? They show up when it's hard. They show up when it's easy. They treat real estate like a career and not a side hustle. They invest in themselves. They ask for help, which is huge. And they surround themselves with the right people, which is, again, huge. The importance of finding the perfect brokerage firm for you. And there's plenty of options, right?
Yeah.
But the one thing we don't talk about is the mindset. I think mindset is huge. And we don't talk about that a lot. You don't learn anything about that in real estate school. So the ones who can succeed are the ones that don't let a bad day or a tough client derail them. The ones that cold call and can handle getting hung up on. The ones that door knock and can handle the doors getting shut in their face. They consistently learn, they bounce back, and they keep going, right?
Let me pause you real quick.
Yeah.
There's so much in there, and I want to pause and unpack it. Right. So, if you saw me go off camera, if y'all are watching on YouTube, I was like, I forgot to get something to write notes, because this is going to be a note heavy. So if you're listening or watching, make sure you have your notes with you. Okay. So first 3 things I heard when you talked about agents that succeed: consistent, coachable, hungry. Okay. Let's go through each one of those. Okay. What do you mean by consistency? First, define it. And then what does that look like? How do we stay consistent or build consistency? So define it first.
So consistency in your business, continuing to do the same things or even new things that work to build your business. As a real estate agent, you're in the lead generation business. This is what you're doing. Yes, you're selling houses, but you're in the lead generation business. So you need to stay consistent with your phone calls, with your note cards, with your newsletters, with your emails. You have to stay consistent. What is it? 12 touches before a person even realizes you're really in real estate.
Wow.
Right? Got to stay consistent in your touches to your clients and to your prospects.
It's so interesting because, I agree with you 1,000% that I often talk to in the similar way of, I think anyone can succeed in this industry. It's whether they give themselves a long enough runway.
Yeah.
I started in 2014 and my wife and I had agreed I had 3 months. And if I hadn't sold a house in 3 months, we would quit. Well, praise the Lord, at 3 months, I came home and I said, "Babe, I honestly think I can figure this out. I don't know yet." And so we decided to give ourselves another 3 months. And at month 5.5 is when I finally got a deal. And literally the rest just took off from there. But it's because we don't give ourselves a long enough runway and we kind of give up too quickly, right? So when you talk about the consistency, is it, and I love that you said do the same thing over or new activities, right? It's understanding we are in the lead generation business. Anyone can open a door. Very few can generate leads consistently. Is it showing up and saying, just give yourself long enough to just do the activities and the activities pay off? Is that the mindset that agents should have coming in?
It is, as long as you are doing the activities, right? I've had too many that claim they do stuff, but there's nothing to show for what they've done. So are you really being consistent? Are you being accountable to yourself? Are you being accountable to an accountability partner or your brokerage? So yeah, you got to give yourself a little bit of time, but you have to do the work.
It's good, yeah. The transparency of that, right? And I don't know why I'm going to share this, but I am going to share it. My wife and I just had our 5th kid right as we're recording this about a month and a half ago. Well, not only do women go through weight gain during pregnancy, the men post-pregnancy, all that food that people bring us, I mean, not good, right, Jenifer? I probably gained like 12 pounds. I don't even want to know. Well, but I was consistent in working out as my wife and I are. And this morning she said, hey, we really should get back on tracking our numbers, our macros, all those things. Like, totally fine. We've done that many times. And she said, we should take progress photos. And I said, I don't want to. She said, what do you mean? I said, I don't want to know what this progress is. It's negative progress. And I said, how's that for transparency? Because if I just ignore it, it goes away, right? Jokingly. I feel like that's how we operate in this business, right? And so is that what you felt when agents show up and they say, well, I've done the work. What do you mean? And you say, well, show me, prove to me that you've done the work. Is it agents being dishonest with themselves, afraid of what's true? Where's the gap there? Why are they not just showing up and, okay, you need this business, it's going to work if you get on the phone every day. Why are they not doing that? What do you think is the challenge there?
I'd like to know the answer to that question if you have it, because I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know why they're not doing the work, but at the same time, I've got a handful of agents who are complete rock stars. I've got 2 guys that are on the phone every morning. They're doing the work and it shows, right? I don't know why. I think you nailed it. They're lying to themselves. They don't want to do the work. They think this business is easy. Thank you, HGTV, for ruining that for us,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, it's true.
So you're right. You nailed it. They're not being consistent. They're not being accountable. But I honestly don't have the answer to that. I'd like to know the answer to that. I'd like to interview a bunch of agents and ask them why.
It's hard because the truth is the only thing that works is work. And yet we, truthfully, I think as believers too, one of the mistakes that I see in our field as Christian agents is this expectation, like I'm a believer and now I'm in this industry, so I should just get business, right? The Lord should just bring me business and bring me deals and, whatever. And I'm not, he can do whatever he wants, but that's not typically how this works.
Yeah.
It's a calling to be excellent, right? When you think about the parable of the talents, 10, 5, 1, they were required, the ones that the master, Jesus, said, well done, good and faithful servant. They took the 10, they figured out how to make it into another 10. In scripture, at least, the parable doesn't say, here's exactly how you're going to make this into 20, right? It was, here's 10, you need to grow that. The one that buried it, you wicked and slothful servant, right? And so as believers, especially if you're a brand new agent or you're an agent, maybe you've been struggling and you're struggling with your consistency, which truthfully we all do at different times, but your calling is so much greater to steward what the Lord has given you, the strengths, the gifts, the skill sets, all the stuff. Your job is to steward that well. And if you ignore it, you're ignoring the calling that the Lord has given to you, right? So I agree with you. The consistency over time is how everybody wins, right? If you just do it long enough. Okay, so coachable. Yeah. Coachable number 2. What does that mean? Define coachability and why does that matter?
Because as a new agent, you really know nothing. Let's be real. You took classes, at real estate school or online. What you learn there is basically going to keep you out of jail. It's not going to teach you how to survive and thrive in this business. So you need to be coachable. You need to have a mentor. You need to have an accountability partner. You need to have a coach. You need to have people in your life that are going to support you, and you need to take their advice. I've worked with several agents who have blown off their mentors, and they haven't survived. We provide mentorship here. We provide training here. As a new agent, you need to absorb and soak up everything you can, from within your brokerage to joining groups like the Faithful Agent, where you're learning from other agents. If you are not willing to be coachable forever, I mean, you're still learning, right? You still attend conferences, you still read books and podcasts and all that. If you're not willing to be coachable, you will not succeed in this business. I firmly believe that.
It's so true. I was 3 months in, I think. Jenifer was totally in the red, right? Hadn't sold anything, didn't for a couple months. One of the first things I did, and I think the best thing I ever did, I went and hired a coach anyways. And I mean, I was 27. I didn't really know what I was doing. I still don't really. I just don't admit that very often, right? But but I knew enough to say, okay, the only way this is going to work is if my brain grows, I grow, I figure this out. I heard a really interesting quote from Albert Einstein, and it stuck with me. We cannot solve problems at the same level of thinking that created them.
Correct.
Right? Most of us in life in general, but agents especially, we show up and we're like, I don't know why it's not working. And you're like, because you're doing the same thing, bro. No, you didn't learn anything new.
Yeah.
You didn't try anything new. You didn't listen to anybody. You're just doing the same thing that didn't work before, and it's not working now. And you're like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Well, it's because that's just how this works, right? You've got to go figure out who can help me figure out what I need to learn. Now, I'm gonna ask you this question, right? Because I think there are agents that either don't go get help, and then there's the agent that goes and gets all the help from everybody about everything, and then they get super confused. And for me, I show up and I'm like, you're cold calling, you're door knocking, you're buying Zillow leads, you're trying to work by referral, you're posting on social media, and you can't do all of those things with excellence. It's not possible. So for the agent that is coachable and is seeking that out, but is maybe a little too eager, how do they weed through the million ways to generate business and actually narrow it down, Jenifer? What do I need to do? If I'm going to be consistent, great, but how do I know what to be consistent on? How would you help that agent?
Well, you're not going to be great at everything, right? I've got several agents who refuse to cold call. Then don't cold call. That's what I tell them. You don't want to door knock, then don't door knock. But you need to find maybe 1, 2, or 3 things. You're right. Too many things, you're going to get confused. You're going to get inside your head and you're going to go crazy because you're like, I tried this, I tried that. Focus on 1 or 2 things at a time.
Yeah.
Make that work. If it doesn't work, then let's find a new thing to do. Which we tell our agents all the time. Stop trying to be everything for everybody because you can't be. Right? You're not a taco.
Yeah. And again, even to bring in the biblical component, right? The reality of, and this is not a church, but the reality of how the Lord made the church and made the body, right? You might be a mouth or an ear or a nose or whatever you are, but in this industry, it's too common for us to say, whatever. I know that you're a hand, but you really got to go figure out how to be a foot too. And then agent goes and they're like, I'm terrible as a foot. And they start to believe maybe I'm just terrible at this industry. Yeah. I think the industry fails us more than we fail it because you're told you got to do all. If I had to, I've never cold called ever once in 11 years. And if I had to do that, honestly, Jenifer, I wouldn't be here still.
Exactly.
Even if it worked, it would have burnt me out. And I don't think it would have because I would be so offended if someone hung up on me. It would be terrible. But if I did try to build it, and even if it had worked, I feel like I would be so burnt out trying to live counter to who I was that I wouldn't even be here still. Right. So taking the time to figure it out, how do they do that? Right. It's part of that coachability that if you don't let any outside sources try to help you figure it out, if you're sitting down, Jenifer, let's say that you're sitting down with a new agent or someone who's thinking about getting into real estate and they say, well, Jenifer, help me figure out how should I build this business? Who am I? How do I figure out what I should be doing? How would you coach them through that?
First off, let's start off with the things you like to do. Right? I mean, you don't like cold calling, you don't like door knocking, but you love social media, you love doing videos. Go for it. Focus on what you love to do because then loving this business is going to show through that. You love volunteering, you love serving others. Go volunteer at some different charities or some different groups. It's all about relationship building. This business is relationship building and lead generation. And you want to go where you're comfortable. Same thing I tell agents, be you. Don't dress, if you don't want to wear a suit and tie every day or a suit and tie for your pictures, then don't. That's not you. Be you.
So that goes against almost all, which I'm 100% on board with, right? But it goes against almost all of the industry narrative.
Correct.
Of it's not about being comfortable. It's about being uncomfortable long enough where now it's comfortable, which, I think that's stupid. But maybe it works. I don't know, right? But I'm with you. I'm like, I'm going to try to figure out how the Lord made me and then just go be excellent at that, right? Because I'm not going to be a basketball player. I'm 5'7". It was never going to happen. And so how do you, for you, right? You're leading a big office. You're developing coaching these agents. You're with a large company, right? But yet you're having the conversation that is different than a lot of the industry conversation. What does it mean to find something that's comfortable? Why do you think that's the approach versus a lot of the industry saying that's not what it's about? Figure out what this agent's doing out in wherever, Nevada, who's killing it, and just do everything that they say. Why do you think it's different? Why do you think it's about figuring out who you are, what's comfortable already?
Well, think about it. Do you really want to do something you don't enjoy doing? Right? Are you going to be successful at something that you're not good at? Just like you said, you're never going to be a basketball player because of your height. I want to flash to a quick story about being you.
Yeah.
I met you at the Faithful Agent Conference up here in Ashburn, right? And I brought an agent with me, an agent friend of mine, and she gracefully accepted my invitation. And she actually spoke up at the event and said, I was so thrilled that Jenifer invited me to this event because I spent my first couple years at a brokerage firm that told me, no, you can't share your faith. You can't do any of that in this business. You need to stay very neutral and don't ever talk about your religion or any of that. And here I was inviting her to a conference where she could now felt comfortable and feels comfortable now boldly talking about her faith in her business.
That's amazing.
Right? Be you. Do the things you like to do to help you grow your business.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not for, like I said, I hate cold calling. I hate cold calling agents.
Yeah.
I've told my broker that. I hate it.
Sure.
Give me a reason to call. It's a different story, but I don't like just cold calling. We don't do that, so we don't do it.
I love that too. I mean, again, I was speaking at this event. I've told the story before, but I'm speaking at this event, I believe in South Carolina. There's this Wall Street bestseller author in front of me, right, Jenifer? And she's a marketing expert. And she says, among many things, but she's telling the story about Dolly Parton, who apparently goes to bed with her makeup on because if someone wakes her up, she wants to look the exact same way, whatever. And so her point is, your job in this industry is to figure out how you want to show up and who you want to be every day and then just be that every single day. And I didn't get up afterwards and say, I totally disagree. But I remember thinking, that sounds exhausting. I have to figure out some, avatar of who I'm supposed to be and then just show up as that every single day. Like, that's really hard. It's a lot easier to say, who am I already, especially as a believer? Who did the Lord make me and what skills has he already given me? And I'm just going to go try to steward those well. It is a false for us to think, man, if we sat there all day and just said, why didn't the Lord give me this skill and I want to steward that instead? That's sinful if we're honest about it, right? Instead of saying, okay, Lord, who did you make me to be? How do I steward that well? Which is why we need coaches, right? Why we need people who can see that in us and encourage and pull that out of us. Okay, so the last thing you said there was hunger. They got to have this drive. What does that mean? Why does that matter?
You have to have the drive to want to be successful. Because you have to, and I'll repeat a quote from one of our agents here, Austin Wickwire. He's amazing. I quoted him on page 2 on my book.
Nice.
This is one of the only businesses where you wake up every day unemployed and you have to go out and get it. Right? Is that not true?
It is absolutely true.
Thank you, Austin. It is so true. You wake up unemployed every morning, and if you don't have the hunger and the drive to go out and get it, you're not going to be successful. You've got to do the work, and that's the whole premise, basically, of my book is you've got to go out and do the work, and you want to do it the way God made you to be, right? You want to focus on your strengths and don't focus on your weaknesses.
That's so good. It is, you talked about why are agents not consistent? It's the same question that I have. Why are they not hungry, right? When I run into somebody that, as hard as I might try, I've had agents on my team and, eventually I remember a specific guy who I love, but eventually I had to let him go. And I just said, man, here's the problem. I don't know how to motivate you. I genuinely don't. Like, you are skilled beyond belief. From every person that has interacted with you, they think you're highly good at this job. You're highly registered, all these things. I just don't even know how to get you excited enough to do anything. And that's really really difficult, right? I don't know if that's laziness. I don't know if that's misalignment. Like, hey, we shouldn't be in this industry in the first place. I definitely think that we agents come into this industry, and you talk to this because you know better than me, but agents come into this industry with an expectation of, I'm just going to post a really awesome, listing video and this walkthrough, and it's going to be super cool, whatever, with all this drone photos, blah, blah, blah on Instagram, and I'll have plenty of business. And that's totally not what it is, right? Like, our job is not showing houses. Our job is not writing contracts and negotiating. Our job is getting business, right? And that's the hardest part of being a business owner in general. Do people come in, do you see this often, where they come in with an amazing drive, you're sitting down with them, they're super excited, and then they actually come in to do the work and all of a sudden it goes away? Or is it that they're coming in just not driven to begin with? Like, what do you see happening in that space?
I think I have seen people come in not driven and they were not hired by us, but the ones that do start with the drive and lose it, that's a big mindset thing. You're right. We got to find out what motivates you. Money doesn't motivate everyone. Is it helping people? Well, then let's get you volunteering somewhere where you're helping people and creating relationships. Again, it's all back to the creating relationships part. So again, another big thing I talk about in my book that we don't talk about in real estate school is mindset and staying positive and not letting someone completely get you down, ways to get out of it, asking for help, knowing your capacity and how much you can take on at one time. I think some agents get overwhelmed. They can't handle more than one transaction at a time, and we've got to learn how to work with them on that. That can kill someone's hunger too. A bad transaction can totally ruin.
Definitely.
I mean, I don't know if you've had any, but
oh yeah,
we've had several agents.
I'll tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
My very first one, Jenifer. So it took me 5.5 months to get a client. It actually took me 4 months. But this client's name was Simon. I'm not going to expose his full name. He was a 20-year-old military kid. I was so excited. I mean, I showed him 40 houses. Who knows, right? We finally go under contract, and I'll keep this brief. We finally go under contract. We've gone through the home inspection, gone through the appraisal, gone through everything. We're like a week away from closing. He calls me up one night at like 10:30 at night, which I don't know why I answered, but it's because I was so desperate for a deal, right? I would never answer now.
Yeah.
I pick up the phone, and the first thing Simon says is, Garrett, you need to call that seller and tell them if they don't drop 20 grand, drop the price by 20 grand, I'm going to the papers, which I'm like, what does that even mean? It was 2014, which I know was a while ago, but like, what do you mean papers? Computers are doing real good. And so anyway, so I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. So I'm like, okay, I'll call the agent tomorrow. So I'm in the office. I was on a team because I absolutely believe you got to get coached. You got to have the help, right? So I started on a team. So I'm in the office with my team leader, and I called this other agent who was a jerk anyways, but understandably, and I'm telling him, and he starts dropping the F-bomb. He's cussing me out. And he's like, Garrett, you tell your client, if he does that, I'm going to my lawyer. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this real estate? Like, I'd never closed anything, had never had a client before. And so about an hour later, I get a call back from the agent. He goes, Garrett, your client just called me directly and told me that he had talked to his Harvard lawyer friend and he was going to sue me. And I'm like, sue you for what? You haven't done anything. Oh my gosh. Anyways, so I end up in the middle of this shouting match, and they're all going to sue each other. And my buyer keeps wanting to go to the papers, which again, like, what does that even mean? Like, nobody reads the papers. And so finally, I remember being in the car. I'm with my team leader. We're in the car. The deal has just not gone through, and they won't release him, and he won't, whatever. And so my team leader's like, look, Garrett, I know this is your first guy ever. I promise this is not what real estate is like. And I was like, are you sure? And he said, you got to call him and you got to fire your client. I'm like, dude, this is terrifying. I've never made money. What's going to happen? Whatever. So I call him and I'm like, hey, Simon, just want you to know, I don't know if we're a good fit for one another. He said, okay, whatever. And he hangs up on me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my very first experience in real estate. And it was terrible. I mean, it was really, really hard. But to your point, unless we have a reason to drive past that, we just get shut down, right? One of my favorite quotes is Charles Kettering, who is an author. The only time you can't afford to fail is the last time you try, right? Failure is the way we learn to succeed. And so when agents again, it's the idea of the runway. For me, when agents give up too quickly, we never get there. The plane never takes off. What if it was about to take off? It's almost football season. What if you're at the 5-yard line? You think you're at the 50, but you're about to score a touchdown. Why would you stop?
Yep.
But we do give up, right?
Yeah.
We do often do that. How do they go figure it out? Because you brought up mindset, which I agree with you. How do they develop and strengthen the mindset to just stay? This is hard. Agents that tell you this is easy, maybe they've never done a deal, right? This is a challenging industry. How do we strengthen, keep our mindset sharp? What do we do, Jenifer? What are some tactical ways for us to do that?
Well, the first thing you shouldn't do is crawl into a hole. And I've seen too many do that. They just disappear. They don't come to training anymore. They don't get on calls anymore. What we feel is the complete opposite, is you need to come into the office. You need to surround yourself with people who are successful, or other people who necessarily might not be successful, and they're in the same boat as you. So you can talk and work through things together. Being around other people is huge. I think too many people go and hide and think it'll just go away. Maybe I'll feel better tomorrow. But the mindset is, listen to a great podcast, go read your Bible, get involved, get reconnected with people. And that's the quickest way to get over that hurdle and get your next client. And just move on. If you can't move on from a bad client, it's not going to be a great career for you.
It's good.
Right?
That's really good. Yeah. I mean, I have heard studies, and I might be butchering, you might know, but it's something like if you're standing at the edge of a mountain, it looks X big. But if you're standing there next to a friend, it looks 20% smaller, right? It's like this idea that we got to do this together. We got to walk through these things together to keep our mindset sharp. So 2 questions left for you. One's about the book. We're going to finish with the book because I want agents to go check it out and get it. And if you're not a new agent, go get it for your new agent friend. Go get it for the friend that's thinking about getting into real estate, right? I'm literally going to go get some. I'm meeting with a potential new agent next week. My question first is, if you had a simple plan over the next 90 days, what would a new agent or any agent who's struggling right now, what do they need to do over the next 90 days to really try to get their business back on track? What would you tell them?
The first thing I do is ask them what their database looks like. How's that CRM going? What's a CRM? Okay, I've heard that way too many times too.
That's scary.
Okay, a spreadsheet is only going to last you so long. I heard a story the other day, somebody's CRM was sticky notes on a wall.
Nice. That's fantastic. Same person who'd go to the papers, right?
Same person who goes to the papers is using sticky notes.
Using sticky notes.
So what are you doing to get in touch with your database? That's the first and foremost, is I'm going to tell them. For a new agent, like I said, I had an interview today, and the first thing, she already started reading my book, and she goes, I've already started reaching out to people. I've already started putting together a list of everybody I know. And my question is, how does your database look? When was the last time you reached out to people in your database?
It's good.
Right? Your database is your lifeline. And I'm talking everybody you know, right? And even other agents. When was the last time you went out with a vendor? When was the last time you went out with one of your lenders or somebody from a title company, or your contractor? You've got to build this database, not just of everybody you know client-wise, but relationship-wise with vendors as well. So that's the first and foremost thing. Your first 90 days is going to be focusing on, what does your database look like? How are we going to announce to them what you're doing now? You're going to reach out to everybody and let them know you started this fantastic new career. You're so excited. Would love any referrals. You're not going to be afraid to ask for referrals, right? And ask for their business as well. I mean, I know, the average person knows 8 real estate agents.
Is it that many? Wow.
It's something like that. I mean, I know thousands.
Right.
Right? You know thousands. But I think the average person knows 8. So, first 90 days, you're going to focus on your database. And if you're an experienced agent and you haven't touched your database, what are you doing?
Yeah. That's good. It is. It's about the people that know you, and I think there's a fear of, well, they also know I just got in real estate. Sure they do, but they also trust you. If you have a relationship with them already, they trust you. I think it's really cool when a new agent comes in and actually does the work to build those relationships or introduce, I think is the way you put it, announce to those people that they're in a new career. Is all of that, especially as a believer, if you've always been serving them well, no one's perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but if you've always been trying to serve these people well, if you've, been working on normal W-2 and trying to love on your, coworkers, whatever, all of that work that you sowed, you start to reap when you come into an industry that's all about trust and relationships, right? Correct. So how cool is that for us to get to go out and do that, right? We don't have time to unpack the hesitancy of, I don't want to bother people, I don't want to whatever, right?
That's a whole That's a whole
nother podcast. Right. But so let me ask you this, because I want to get to the book. I want to end with the book. But so it's titled Beyond the Sale.
Correct.
What does that phrase mean to you? Why did you choose that as the title?
So because to me, it's everything behind the scenes that we've, kind of been talking about now that you don't talk about in real estate school or in any real estate classes. The mindset, the hustle, the heart, the personal and professional growth that you need to constantly do. None of that's talked about in real estate school. It's so easy to get caught up in showing pretty houses and making deals and having closings. But this industry, as we've just discussed, is so much deeper than that. So I named it that because I feel like this is a great resource, not just for new agents that need to build a strong foundation, but for experienced agents too. It's a book of straightforward ideas and no fluff.
I love it. I love it because, in my opinion, it applies to an agent considering getting in, applies to an agent who's brand new in the industry, applies to if you're a team leader and you're trying to help your new agents and you want them to understand what the business is, even if you want them to realize how much they need to learn and why it would be beneficial to join a team. I'm a huge advocate for that.
Yeah.
This book is applicable to that. And I appreciate your addition of this, not only this book, this information. I know you've got a blog too, but this information to our industry because they need to know what's actually true. Yeah. That, like you said, it's not just, I love people. Well, you've never had a client, right? Real fast. It's not about that. It's about the willingness to commit to something and just keep going, even when it gets hard. Because that's what this industry is, right? And those are the ones that actually reach success. I'm just still here, right? I mean, it's literally, I just survived this long and I've tried to develop and grow. So I love that that's your heart because I agree with you 100%. It's so much more than just the sale. So agents up in Northern Virginia, you definitely need to check out Jenifer. And any other agent who's looking for an amazing book, you definitely need to go check that out. Jenifer, how should they connect with you? How do they find the book? Give us that information. Yeah.
So it is on Amazon.
Awesome.
Currently working through the process of getting it elsewhere, but amazing. Amazon is the best place to get it. Cool. There's a hard copy, ebook, and a soft copy. No audiobook yet.
Awesome.
He's going to beat me to it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so like you said, Garrett, it's not just for the brand new agent. I really feel that it's easy enough to read for a high schooler. And that's really where this kind of stems from. I was telling Garrett how this light bulb idea came up was I was doing a career fair at my son's high school. And I realized in talking to these 18-year-olds how little they know about real estate and how they think it's so easy thanks to the TikTokers and the YouTubers and HGTV. So it's written for your high schooler. I mean, I'm going to have my son read it, and he's in 10th grade.
Yeah, amazing.
Right?
That's awesome. And it is becoming, I've spoken a couple of times at my local university, real estate is becoming a viable option for younger people now.
Correct.
And that's interesting. And it is the rise of all those things. This would be a great gift for if you have a child that's thinking about real estate or a friend or whatever, to give them the truth behind what this actually is and whether this is the right fit. This, in my opinion, this real estate industry is still the single best industry for an entrepreneur getting started. Hands down.
Agreed.
The opportunity, the stuff you can create. I mean, unbelievable. But it's got to match. It's got to make sense. You've got to know what you're getting into with eyes wide open. And this book will help you. So that link, agents, is going to be in the show notes. You can link directly to it to go buy your copy or buy it for somebody else. Jen, if they want to connect with you directly, how would they do that?
So they can email me. I do have a Facebook page. It is Rookie RE Agent, and then it's Rookie RE Agent blog to book. RookieREAgent.com is my blog website, and you can find me there.
Fantastic.
Email is JeniferM@remax.net. It's Jenifer with one N. But just so everybody knows, yes, I've been with REMAX. It's awesome. This book talks nothing about a specific brokerage. This book is just to help everyone.
It's awesome.
Period.
Yeah, I love it.
I don't pigeonhole anybody. I don't talk about any brokerage. I give pros and cons. Like you said, Garrett, joining a team as a new agent, fully behind it. There's pros and cons to it.
Absolutely.
So I talk about that in the book as well.
I love it. Well, we appreciate you. Rising tide lifts all ships, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea who said that, but Dave, my buddy, says that all the time. I think it's Dave. Okay.
Dave said it.
I love it. All of those links are going to be in the show notes, agents. We love you. We love you, new agents. We love you, agents who are considering getting in to the industry. And we want to help you, myself and Jenifer, help you figure out how to do this in a way that honors the Lord. And what I will tell you is the way you know you're honoring the Lord is if you pursue excellence in whatever it is you put your mind to. If the Lord has given you an opportunity, steward it with excellence. That's how we honor him. It's by learning about beyond the sale. It's by learning from people like Jenifer or finding someone like her in your local market, wherever you are. We want to help you. So we love you, Faithful Agent. Jenifer, thank you so much for coming on. Go grab that book, everybody, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, Garrett.